Hello students, welcome to KENE'S Educare, a group of KENE solutions. This is lesson number 7, Diversity of Living Organism, part 1. Okay, so now what do you understand by the word diversity? Because diversity is something that that has come up, like most of the times we have discussed on this diversity, right? Diversity means variation. Now if you remember about the last lesson we have discussed on the tissues, uske pehle we have discussed on you can say we have discussed on the cells. So these are all topics which are related to biology. Okay, so biology is something where you only deal with respect to living organisms and sometimes non-living organisms as well. Okay, so here we will be discussing on certain basic things that you should know before starting the lesson. Okay, so if I tell you, like, you already know what is the meaning of the word, what can I say, diversity. I'll just write it on the screen so that it's clear to you. Now there comes a question, na? Why all the living organisms they are different from each other? Why the plants are different from each other? Why are the animals different from each other? So that is what we call it as diversity, because there is diversity that exists on our earth. Okay. So see, as I give you introduction in every part, I'm giving you introduction about this lesson in this part 1. Okay, even we can start with the lesson itself. Now see, डाइवर्सिटी का मीनिंग है वेरिएशन, and even I can say it as differences, the variation or the differences that exist, okay, between the living organism. That is what we call it as diversity. So diversity of living organism it refers to variety of organism okay. What does this term diversity of living organism refers to? The variety of living being which is present on the earth. So now, based on the differences that we see that exist between the different living organisms, okay, we have 5 different kingdom classification which has been given. I hope you are aware of the kingdom classification. Okay, कितने kingdom हैं? We have 5 kingdom classification. Okay, so this 5 kingdom classification, it was given by R.H. Whittaker sir. Who has given it? R.H. Whittaker sir ne, he has given us the 5 kingdom classification, which is very much important. And after he has discovered this 5 kingdom classification, many things became easier. So what he was doing, जो भी organism या जो भी living being उनको ऐसे लग रहे हैं that they are having the same characteristics, he was putting them into different kingdoms, and this is how the 5 kingdom classification was made. So accordingly we have kingdom Plantae, we have kingdom Animalia, उसके अंदर अलग अलग type के organisms को he was putting all together. Okay, so do you all want to know which are the 5 different systems of classification? Please take a note along with me. See, The first kingdom that we have is called as Kingdom Monera. What it is called? Kingdom Monera. Then the second kingdom that we have, we call that as Kingdom Protista. Okay, Kingdom Protista. Then the third kingdom that we have, we call that kingdom as Kingdom Fungi. The fourth kingdom, we call it as Kingdom Plantae. And last kingdom that we have is Kingdom Animaliae. Okay, but you know that under this kingdom there are different phylums which have been given all together. So ऐसा नहीं है that ये kingdom के अंदर क्या हुआ, kingdom Monera के अंदर कुछ organisms चले गए. All the same characteristic, all the organisms who are having the same characteristic as kingdom Monera, they were put under this Monera group. The organisms who were having the same characteristics like that of fungi, they were put inside this group of kingdom fungi. Then kingdom plantae. Now you know that we have thousands and millions of plants which are available on earth, right? And we have different types of plants. So if we are putting those into this kingdom plantae, then too it is difficult to study them, right? So that is the reason kingdom jo hai, that is further divided into sub kingdom. We have phylum and all to discuss on. And after this kingdom plantae, we have kingdom Animalia to discuss. Now kingdom Animalia, it includes different kind of animals. The animals who are having different characteristics, they are all included under this kingdom Animalia. Okay, so we have this 5 kingdom: Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Fungi, Kingdom Plantae, and Kingdom Animalia. Now I will be writing certain characteristics of all of this kingdom, because कुछ तो characteristics को देख के kingdoms को place किया गया है ना accordingly. So I'll write firstly about Kingdom Monera. Okay. See, अब Kingdom Monera के अंदर कौन आता है? Kingdom Monera, it includes all unicellular, prokaryotic, heterotrophic or autotrophic organism. Okay, what? Heterotrophic or autotrophic organism. So जो भी you can say living being या जो भी organism who are unicellular. Now what do you mean by unicellular? Unicellular मतलब they are single celled, वो एक ही cell से बने हैं. Okay, then they are prokaryotic. Now you know the difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes, right? We have discussed that in the last class, that is in the last lesson, right? So prokaryotic है, it means what? It is prokaryotic means you can say that they do not have a well-defined nucleus. Prokaryotes का मतलब क्या है? Primitive nucleus. So they do not have a well-defined nuclear membrane. But whereas when it comes to eukaryotes have a well-defined nucleus, nuclear membrane. Then prokaryotes जो है, you can say that because they are not having a well-developed nuclear membrane, DNA जो है that is not present. यहाँ पे you will see that DNA is present. Now DNA is not present because the nuclear membrane is not well developed. You can say that the DNA is not that well developed here. Okay. Then these are heterotrophic or autotrophic organism. Heterotrophic means they are dependent on others for their food, and autotrophic as well means they can make their own food as well. Now plants are mostly called as autotrophs, or because why are they called autotrophs? Because they can prepare their own food through the process of photosynthesis, and all the different living organisms, We are all dependent on plants and animals for our food, right? And if you remember, I have told you in any lesson that we human beings, we are omnivores. Now, what is the meaning of omnivores? Living being who can eat plants as well as animals. So we human beings are as such, like we are eating the plants as well as we are eating the animals, right? And that is why human beings are here that falls into the characteristics of king, like they have the characteristic, and we are called as omnivores. Okay, then the second kingdom that we have is kingdom protesta. ठीक है. So see, kingdom protesta के अंदर जो आएंगे ना सारे organisms, they are going to be unicellular, autotrophic, और heterotrophic eukaryotic organism. ठीक है. किंगडम मोनेरा के अंदर क्या थे? ऑटोट्रॉपिक और हेटेरोट्रॉपिक प्रोकैरियोटिक ऑर्गेनिज्म. तो जो किंगडम प्रोटिस्टा है, प्रोटिस्टा के अंदर क्या आ गए? यूनिसेल्युलर, ऑटोट्रॉपिक और हेटेरोट्रॉपिक यूकैरियोटिक ऑर्गेनिज्म. ओके, देन वी हैव किंगडम प्लांटे. I don't know if I can complete it here. I'll write kingdom animalia here. Please take a note of kingdom monera and kingdom protesta because I'll have to clear it on the screen, or else if I can write somewhere. You should know who has given this 5 kingdom classification system. So that was given by Sir R.H. Whittaker. Don't forget this name because fill in the blanks mein mostly this questions have been asked that dash, like you can say it, they will ask that dash has formed the 5 kingdom classification. So it was R.H. Whittaker who has formed this 5 kingdom classification. So you should know the name of R.H. Whittaker Soul because when you go in 10th standard, वहाँ पे भी आपको किंगडम्स के बारे में पढ़ना है. सो इफ़ यू नो दिस बेसिक थिंग्स फ्रॉम नाउ itself, it will be clear to you all in the next, like when you go in your next standard or when you move ahead with your syllabus, you will have an idea of all such things. Okay, so it is very much important that you know the basics. Okay, so I hope that you have written about kingdom monera and kingdom protesta. Now next we have is kingdom fungi. So I'm clearing this screen. I hope you all have taken a note of it. So now the next thing is, or the next kingdom that we have is kingdom fungi. Okay, so kingdom fungi के अंदर कौन से organisms आएंगे? It has multicellular. Now protesta and monera, they had unicellular organisms. Kingdom fungi is going to have multicellular eukaryotic organism with plants and animals like feature. Okay, what kind of feature? With plant and animal like feature. Okay, so you can say that they may be saprophytic or parasitic. Kingdom fungi के अंदर जो आते हैं, so they may be saprophytic और parasitic. Okay, so kingdom fungi में तो आपको पता है ना, जो हमारा फंगल ग्रोथ होता है on different food items, on different plant material, animal material पे. So those all the organisms, all the fungi, they come into this. That is, they come under this kingdom fungi. Okay, after that we have kingdom plantae. क्या है हमारे पास? We have kingdom plantae. So kingdom plantae के अंदर we have multicellular, eukaryotic autotroph, which are further classified as we have Thallophyta, then we have Bryophyta. Okay, ये क्या है? These are the further classification of kingdom plantae. You can say this. We have this Thallophyta, Bryophyta, then we have this Pteridophyta. After that, after Pteridophyta, we have Gymnosperms, and lastly we have Angiosperm. Okay, so these are the different you can say classes which are included under kingdom plantae. And kingdom plantae के अंदर क्या आएंगे? Kingdom plantae is going to involve all the multicellular eukaryotic autotrophs, and we are going to classify this kingdom plantae into 5 parts. That is, it involves Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta, Gymnosperm and Angiosperm. Okay, so after kingdom fungi and kingdom plantae, we have kingdom Animalia. क्या है? Kingdom Animalia. So now this kingdom Animalia, it is going to include what? All the organisms under this kingdom Animalia. They are going to be eukaryotic, multicellular, heterotrophs, which are classified as what do you think? Kingdom Animalia कौन से इसमें classified होगा? Now there are many things to write on this, like kingdom Animalia is further classified into 9 phylums, you can say. Okay, कितने? 9 phylums है. So I am writing all the 9 phylums this side. So I hope you understand that this here I have written about the kingdom Animalia. So first we have is phylum Porifera. Just remember the name for now. We have phylum Porifera. After that we have phylum Coelenterata. ठीक है, फिर we have phylum Platyhelminthes. Then Platyhelminthes के बाद we have phylum Nematode. After this phylum Nematode, we have phylum Annelida. Then we have phylum Arthropoda. After phylum Arthropoda, we have phylum Mollusca. Then we have phylum Echinodermata, and lastly we have phylum Chordata. Okay, so kingdom fungi में we saw that we have multicellular eukaryotic organisms, and all these multicellular eukaryotic organisms, they are going to have either plant or animal like features. And kingdom fungi को, like fungi को we also call them as saprophytes. Okay, so kingdom fungi के अंदर जो भी plants and animal like features वाले organisms आते हैं, they may be either saprophytic or they may be parasitic. Okay, after that we have kingdom plantae. So kingdom plantae में we have multicellular eukaryotic autotrophs. Okay, क्या है? We have multicellular eukaryotic autotrophs. Okay, so kingdom plantae में we have this multicellular eukaryotic autotrophs, which we further classify it as, we have kingdom plantae के अंदर we have thallophyta, we have bryophyta, we have pteridophyta, gymnosperm and angiosperm. So these are the further 5 classes which are which comes under this kingdom plantae. Okay, after kingdom animalia we have eukaryotic multicellular heterotrophs. क्या है kingdom animalia में? We have eukaryotic multicellular heterotrophs, which we classify as, we have 10 different phylums which comes under kingdom animalia. We have phylum Porifera, we have phylum Coelenterata, then we have phylum Platyhelminthes, phylum Nematode, phylum Annelida, phylum Arthropoda, phylum Mollusca, phylum Echinodermata and phylum Chordata. Now for y'all, since you are listening the names of the phylum for the first time, do not panic, because I remember when the first time when I came across this different names of the phylum. So when I have to study that in detail, समझो अभी phylum Porifera में I should at least remember 4 to 5 examples along with different you can say characteristics they were given, right? Okay, तो अभी because अगर इसके अंदर phylum Porifera Coelenterata आ रहा है, so they include different kinds of characteristics there. तो हर एक phylum के अलग अलग characteristics थे which I had to study. But now since you are only in 9th standard, you don't have that much to worry about. There will be certain characteristics like आपको जो याद रखना है and you will be clear with it. I am pretty sure that you will be doing it good. Okay, now like if I brief you about this, now why are we studying on this diversity in living organism? Because when we are classifying anything, classification helps us in exploring the diversity of the life form. Now why I am telling you, why I have shown you the classification of different kingdoms as classes and the phylums, so that you get a clear picture ki exactly what has been involved in this lesson, diversity in living organism. Okay, so once we are classifying this, as R.H. Whittaker sir was classifying these kingdoms, 5 different kingdoms, so it has helped us in exploring the diversity which is existing in our living form. Otherwise हमें तो इस पे knowledge भी नहीं होती कि what kind of diversity is existing in what kind of you can say life is existing on earth. Now because we are having these different kingdoms, we come to know, okay, this diversity of form is also existing here, this diversity also exists here, so we get an idea here. But अगर classification नहीं होता तो हम ये सारी चीज़ें देखते ही नहीं, right? So the second thing why this study is important, why diversifying in the living organism is important. So the major characteristics which are considered for classifying all living organism into 5 major kingdoms, what are they? See, there are certain characteristics जिसको हम consider करते हैं ताकि हम सारे organisms को classify कर पाए and we have classified this into 5 different types, 5 kingdoms. Can you tell me the 5 different kingdoms? First is kingdom Monera, then we have kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, and lastly we have kingdom Animalia. Okay, so now whether they are made up of prokaryotic cell or eukaryotic cell, we have to know that. Okay, सबसे पहले आप कोई भी फंगा किंगडम के अंडर स्टडी कर रहे हो तो सबसे पहली चीज़ आपको क्या पता होनी चाहिए, whether they are made up of prokaryotic cell or they are made up of eukaryotic cell. This is the first thing that you should know. After that you should know whether the cells are living singly or they are organized into multicellular and complex organism. तो पहली चीज़ आपको क्या पता होनी चाहिए, whether the cell is prokaryotic cell or a eukaryotic cell. After that you should know whether those cells they are living singly, the cells are living single, or they have organized themselves as a multicellular organism and now they are being thus called as a complex organism. Okay, and the third thing you should know whether the cells have a cell wall and whether they prepare their own food or not. अब वो cell के पास cell wall है या नहीं है and they are preparing their own food or not, you should have this idea as well. Okay, so as I told you, on the basis of these 3 things, whether they are made up of prokaryotic or eukaryotic cell, whether they are unicellular or multicellular, whether they are having cell wall or they are not having cell wall, they are preparing their own food, they are not preparing their own food. So based on this different criteria, we can say that all living organisms, they are divided on the basis of this into 5 kingdoms. We have kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, and kingdom Animalia. So these are the different kingdoms. Okay, and the classification of the life form that is related to their evolution. And here in 2000, like 19 से 2022 में, we can see that there is a lot of diversity which is existing between these living organisms. Okay, and as we can see that this kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia, we can further divide that into subdivisions. And why the subdivisions we are having? Because of the increasing complexity which we see along with the body organization. अब बॉडी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जो कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी हमें देखने मिल रही है, दैट इज़ इंक्रीजिंग डे बाय डे, and that is the reason that we are dividing this kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia into different phylums and different classes. So plants को हमने कितने ग्रुप्स में डिवाइड किया हुआ है? 5 ग्रुप्स में. Those are we have thallophytes, we have bryophytes, then pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. Okay, so these are the 5 different groups which the plants have. Then animals are divided into 10 groups. So we have phylum Porifera, phylum Coelenterata, phylum Platyhelminthes, phylum Nematode, then phylum Annelida, phylum Arthropoda, phylum Mollusca, phylum Echinodermata, phylum Protochordata and phylum Vertebrata. Okay, so जो भी binomial nomenclature है, these are the 10 different phylums. Okay, so the binomial nomenclature that we have, it makes for a uniform way of identification of the vast diversity of life around us. ठीक है, तो जो binomial nomenclature है, that is the naming system. Okay, scientific जब हम कोई भी चीज़ को scientifically name करते हैं, that is the binomial nomenclature. That is making a uniform way where we can identify the vast diversity that is existing, like the diversity is with respect to the life. Okay, so what kind of life diversity which we can see around us, that like the way for that is made by this binomial nomenclature only. And this binomial nomenclature, that is made up of 2 words. We have a generic name and a specific name. What do we have? We have a generic name and we have a specific name for that. Okay, so I hope that you are clear with this basic things. Okay, मतलब जो basic knowledge है for this lesson, I hope you are clear with that. Now like we are going to have different kinds of questions that you will be facing. Okay, so I hope that you all know the basic thing, because it is important for you all that you are aware of these basic things. Okay, why there is a why there is a need of classifying this organism, what are the advantages that we are getting. So जब हम किसी भी ऑर्गेनिज्म को क्लासीफाई करते हैं, यू कैन सी दैट हमने किंगडम प्लांटे को क्लासीफाई किया, वी हैव क्लासिफाइड किंगडम एनिमेलिया एज वेल. Why this classification is done? Because हम देख रहे हैं that there is a increasing complexity which has been observed, right? So when we are classifying these organisms, we can study the common features all together. So this is one of the advantage कि हमने एक organism को classify कर दिया. Now we don't have to study them in detail. हम उनके common features से we can determine what they are having, right? After that, the study of scientific experiment is simplified. Now if we are classifying different organisms, जो भी scientific experiments हमें करने हैं, that is going to become simplified. So you are studying just for one organism, but you know that that organism comes under this phylum Porifera. So it means you have studied for all the organism that comes under phylum Porifera, right? So it becomes easier. Then the interrelationship of human with other entities can be interpreted. तो अब human और अलग अलग entities के बीच का जो relationship है, we can even interpret that kind of relationship. Then their dependence and interaction, we can study how they are dependent on each other and how they are interacting with each other. We can even study the interactions and the dependence. Okay, and जब हम पूरे एंटाइटी को क्रॉस ब्रीड करते हैं एंड वी आर मॉडिफाइंग देम जेनेटिकली, इट इज़ गोइंग टू बी बेनिफिशियल फॉर कमर्शियल एप्लीकेशन एज वेल. So it is not like that कि when we are classifying this organism, there are no advantages. We have many advantages when we diversify this organism, living organism, and we study them in detail later. Okay, so I hope you're clear with the basic thing. Now the first topic that we are going to start with, like in this lesson, diversity and living organism, is about classification and evolution. Now evolution is not a new term, and if I show you the picture, the first thing that comes to our mind is evolution itself. Now if you know हमारे जो ancestors थे, उनका जो like they were like monkey, कैसे थे वो? They were like monkey itself. ओके, तो आप देख सकते हो पिक्चर में हाउ जैसे जैसे टाइम गया है वैसे वैसे क्या हो रहा है, जैसे जैसे टाइम जा रहा है वैसे वैसे हमारा यू कैन से कितना ज़्यादा डेवलपमेंट हुआ है. नाउ वी आर सो डिफरेंट फ्रॉम ईच अदर, राइट? अगर मैं आपको बहुत टाइम पहले व्हेन देयर वाज नो इवोल्यूशन एंड ऑल, इफ़ आई शो यू दैट पिक्चर and if I show you today's picture, so you will come to know that how much development has taken place, right? So it is very much important that we are having these things, like हमें अपने हिस्ट्री के बारे में पता हो, एंड दैट इज़ द रीज़न हम वैसे ही क्लासीफाई कर पाएंगे, हम ऐसे ही पता कर पाएंगे कि हाउ द थिंग्स आर बीन क्लासिफाइड एंड हाउ द इवोल्यूशन इज टेकिंग प्लेस, बिकॉज इवोल्यूशन इज़ वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट दैट वी आर हैविंग. ओके, so see, time is the key factor. What? Time is the key factor which helps in development of complex organism from the simple one. Now if you are aware of, अब ये जो आपको monkey जैसा organism दिख रहा है, that organism is like very much simple, you can say, but as and when we are moving together, what is happening, जैसे जैसे हम आगे जा रहे हैं विद टाइम, व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, हमें ये पता चल रहा है कि देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ डेवलपमेंट विच इज टेकिंग प्लेस अराउंड अस, राइट? Okay, so time is a very important factor that we are having, because that plays a very important role. See, Charles Darwin first gave the idea of evolution in the year 1855. Charles Darwin ने पहला आइडिया कब दिया था evolution का? 1865 पे. Okay, 1855, in his famous book Origin of Species. Now whatever he has given, like whatever idea of evolution उनको जो मिला था, right? सो सी, एज आई टोल्ड यू कि टाइम एक बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट की फैक्टर है हमारे लिए, राइट? वाई इज इट सो? वाई द टाइम इज प्लेइंग एन इम्पॉर्टेंट रोल? आप देख रहे हो टाइम के साथ वी आर स्लोली एंड स्टडीली डेवलपिंग आर सेल्फ. We are developed and we are trying to develop our the next generation that we are going to have. So much of new technology is coming up, so much of new researches that have been done, right? So there are ample number of things that we have. है ना? सो अभी आप बताओ मुझे, व्हेन देयर वाज लाइक कोविड नहीं था, ओके, व्हेन देयर वाज नो कोविड, दैट टाइम वी वर नॉट इवन इमेजिनिंग दैट सच थिंग्स कैन हैपन, राइट? हमने ये कभी सोचा भी नहीं था दैट वी कैन हैव समथिंग लाइक दिस. वी आर गोइंग टू अटेंड आवर क्लासेस through our laptop, through our mobile phone. This was a totally new concept which came up because of this. So there is some kind of, you can say, टेक्नोलॉजिकल डेवलपमेंट विच टुक प्लेस. हमारे ह्यूमन बिहेवियर में भी बहुत सारे चेंजेस हुए हैं. मेंटली पीपल हैव चेंज्ड अ लॉट, राइट? तो एक सिंपल वन से, एक सिंपल ऑर्गेनिज्म से नाउ वी आर मेकिंग अ कॉम्प्लेक्स ऑर्गेनिज्म. सो ऑन दिस चार्ल्स डार्विन, ही वाज द वन who has given this idea of development, and he gave his idea of evolution in 1855. Now he has his book, like उन्होंने, उनकी बुक है, चार्ल्स डार्विन की एक फेमस बुक है, दैट इज द ओरिजिन ऑफ स्पीशीज. एंड what did he like, इन्होंने बुक सॉरी, इनके बुक का नाम क्या था? ओरिजिन ऑफ स्पीशीज, राइट? बट इनकी बुक आई कब थी? 1855 में. बट ही वॉज द फर्स्ट वन जिन्होंने सबसे पहले, क्या, जिन्होंने सबसे पहले इवोल्यूशन के आइडिया पे, he was behind that and he was using that idea. But what happened, 1855 में इनकी बुक फेमस हुई थी, but this idea of evolution was there in his mind बहुत पहले से, because the book is not written within a day, right? So बहुत पहले से this was been given. Okay, so it is not something like इन्होंने 1855 में he got this idea of you can say evolution. No, it was being there before itself. ठीक है? So those organisms who have Asian design and not changed much, they are primitive organism. What do I call them as? Primitive organism. तो ऐसे organism जिनके पास एक Asian design है and they are not changing, we call them as primitive organism. If you remember, मैंने primitive word पहले भी use किया है. Can you tell me the word where I have told you the meaning of primitive? Yes, primitive word has been used ओके, प्रिमिटिव वर्ड कहाँ पे यूज किया है मैंने? प्रोकैरियोट्स में. इफ यू रिमेंबर व्हेन आई वाज डिस्कसिंग अबाउट द डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ किंगडम्स, द 5 kingdom system, that time I told you whether we should know whether the organism that we are discussing on, that organism is a prokaryotic organism or it is a eukaryotic organism. You should know that difference, right? So at that time I told you that prokaryotes ka meaning he is what? Prokaryotes means they are having a primitive nucleus within it, but inside our body, as and when we are developing, the nucleus is developing and there are a lot more changes that are taking place inside our body that we are even not aware of. Okay, so those organisms जिनके पास Asian designs है, they have not changed, we call them as primitive organisms. And those who acquired certain special characters during the time period, we call them as advanced organism, or we also call them as higher organisms. So we human being, we have developed many special characters within us and we have changed a lot. So can you see this first picture? That is the, like, this is how man used to look like earlier. Then slowly and steadily as the time went on, what happened? Now we have developed very much, you can say we had special characters which are developed within us, right? And now we living beings, we are being called as the advanced or higher organism. Now this is one activity which has been given to you, that is 7.1. We have heard of desi cows and jersey cows. I hope that you people have heard about desi cow and jersey cow, and you know the difference between desi and jersey cow. So do you think that desi cow looks like a jersey cow? What is your idea on this? See, I want you all to know, like, what do you think about this? कि एक desi cow और एक jersey cow, do you think that they look similar or they are different from each other? See, they are different from each other, but I want you all to use your mind and tell me कि how are they exactly, like, अगर उनमें कुछ difference है, they both are cow itself, right? If they have a difference, then what kind of difference you can see there? So I'll write your answer on the screen itself so that you are aware of it. Wait. So the answer to your first question, does a desi cow look like a jersey cow? So no, a big no. Okay, a desi cow does not look like a jersey cow. Okay, then tell me the next one. Do all desi cows look alike? So the answer to this is no. Not all desi cow look alike. Okay, then will we be able to identify a jersey cow in a crowd of desi cow that don't look like each other? Abhi suppose I have a crowd, यहाँ पे क्या है? We have all desi cows, पर इसके अंदर 100 desi cow है and here we have 2 jersey cow. Will you be able to identify this jersey cow? So yes, you can identify the jersey cow between this desi cow because they look different from each other, right? So I'll write it, yes, we can identify a jersey cow in a crowd of desi cow. Okay, now the fourth question is, what is the basis of our identification? अब आप कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करोगे कि कौन सा काव देसी काव है एंड कौन सा जर्सी काव है? सो द बेसिस ऑफ classification here is the properties of the cow, because the properties of desi cow will be different and the properties of jersey cow will be different and desi cow will be different. Now if I have to explain you here, see, whenever we see something that is correlating, पहले सबसे पहले what we do, we come out with the similarities that jersey and the desi cow both are having. So first we are going to see the similarities between both of them, and then after watching the similarities we are going to have a look on the differences that the desi cow is having and the jersey cow is having, right? So when the differences they are less, we see minute differences, and when the differences are more, we see broad things. Okay, तो अगर differences कम है तो क्या होगा, हमें छोटे छोटे differences देखने मिलेंगे सबके बीच में, पर अगर differences ज़्यादा है, so we are going to see broad things. मतलब broad things they make up the fundamental classification, while minute differences they are later divided into subcategories. Broad things क्या करेंगे, they are going to help us in making the fundamental classifications, and जो हमारे छोटे छोटे differences है, minute differences, उनको हम आगे जाके divide करेंगे in different subcategories. For example, now take an example. We can compare a whale and an elephant on the basis of habitat that they are having. Now what is an habitat? The place where the whale is living and the place where the elephant is living. So elephant lives in the forest and whale is an aquatic animal. So you can identify the whale and the elephant on the basis of habitat or the place where they live, right? So elephant is terrestrial, that is it lives on land, while whale is aquatic. We are aware of this, right? So in case of two terrestrial animals, the basis of classification depends more. अगर अभी मैंने यहाँ पे एक aquatic animal लिया था, एक terrestrial animal लिया था, right? But when it comes to, अगर मैं दो terrestrial animal लेके if I am studying, so I will have to go in detail. I like मेरे को बहुत ज़्यादा deep में जाके उनका classification करना पड़ेगा. For example, see, a cat and a dog, they both are terrestrial, they both live on land, right? Dog also live on land and cat also lives on land itself. They both are terrestrial, right? But they are different due to their appearance that they are having, right? They both look different from each other, so that is one of the differences that they have. The food habit that they have, cow eat different things, dog is eating something and cat is eating something, so they have different food habit as well. The size of the dog and the size of the cat, that also makes one different. The habit that they are having, that is also different. The sound that the dog makes, that is bow bow, and the cat makes is meow meow, so the sound is also different, right? So as and when you see that there are you can say you are having a classification, so जैसे जैसे आप आगे जाओगे you will see that the classification is going to deepen itself. Okay, so similarly when we compare two different types of cow, the differences that you are going to see with respect to them is, you have to see like what is the difference that is existing between like the horn of the cow. First thing आप क्या देखोगे, horn, then color of the cow. Wait, I'll write it. Horn of the cow, after that the color of the cow, and lastly you can see the milk capacity, what kind of milk capacity the Jersey cow is having. So milk capacity of cow as well as the size of the cow. So these are the different properties that we are going to differentiate between both the cow, that is the desi cow and the Jersey cow, and we are going to make that basis for our identification, because these are the basic things which will be noticed and we need to take care of. Okay, So these are the answer to your question that has been given. Now see, the next thing is biodiversity that we are going to start in the next class, because if I start now, it will all move out of your head, because I gave you different phylums and different classes ka classification. Kingdom Plantae, Kingdom Animalia was a bit difficult for you all to understand, I know. So I'll not start the class today, because I want you all ki whatever I have taught you today, like whatever basic things, the five kingdom, who had given us five kingdom, it was given by R.H. Whitaker sir, who has given R.H. Whitaker sir, and like the five different classifications are Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Fungi, Kingdom Plantae, Kingdom Animalia. So these are the five different kingdoms that we have discussed on. Okay, and I hope you are clear with it. So हमने ये भी देखा कि Kingdom Plantae जो Kingdom Porifera है, ठीक है, Kingdom Porifera में we have unicellular organisms. They may be autotrophic or heterotrophic, right? Then हमने Kingdom Protista देखा, Kingdom Plantae, Kingdom Fungi. Now Kingdom okay, so हमारा जो you can say Kingdom Plantae है, that is further divided into five classes, that is Thallophyta, Bryophyta, then we have Gymnosperms, Angiosperms and Pteridophyta. So these are the five different classes of Kingdom Plantae that we are having. Kingdom Animalia में we have 10 different phylums which have been given. So I want you all to at least remember those five classes of Kingdom Plantae and 10 classes of phylum Animalia, because I don't want y'all to have any mistake there. And it is very much good, because if it is there in your syllabus or not, that doesn't matter. But if you are studying about diversity in living organism, this much picture should be clear into your mind, that these are the 5 different 10 phylums which comes under Kingdom Animalia, and these are the 5 different classes of Kingdom Plantae. Okay, so in the next class we are going to start with this biodiversity wala part. Okay, biodiversity means the diversity that exists in different life forms. Okay, alag life forms may we see there is such a diversity, such a variation which we can see, right? So we are going to discuss on biodiversity. After that we are going to discuss on the hierarchy of the classification, that is we will be discussing on certain groups. So kingdom word is not new to you all. Like we have kingdom, then we have phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. This is how we divide, or we further divide the organism as वो organism को we put that into the kingdom. Then there is a certain phylum where we add that. फिर phylum के बाद there is a specific class where that organism comes. Order हो गया. Then that organism further belongs to a certain or a specific family. After family we have the genus of that organism, and then we have the species of organism. So this is how we again further go with it. Okay, so after studying on this hierarchy of classification, we will be discussing on different kingdoms. Like we have Kingdom Monera to discuss. After Kingdom Monera we have Kingdom Fungi to discuss, then Kingdom Plantae to discuss, Kingdom Animalia to discuss. Okay, so if you can see, you have the characteristics of all the 5 different kingdoms that we have discussed now. So ये 5 kingdom systems को discuss करने के बाद we have this chart which has been given. So I'll suggest you, before going on with the kingdom ka characteristics, go on with this chart, because here they have shown that the living organisms, they are of 2 types. We have prokaryotes and we have eukaryotes. So prokaryotes जो है ना, उसके अंदर सारे unicellular organisms they are included under prokaryotes. Okay, so Kingdom Monera comes under this prokaryotes. After that we have this eukaryotic organism, which we further divide them as unicellular and multicellular. So eukaryotic unicellular organisms may we have Kingdom Protista which occurs, and eukaryotic multicellular organisms may we can further divide them as some of the organisms they are going to have cell wall, some of the organisms they are going to be without cell wall. So eukaryotic multicellular organism with cell wall who are not performing, like we can further divide them as some of the organisms they are not going to perform photosynthesis, and that is kingdom fungi. And some of the organisms who are having their cell wall but still they are able to, like they are going to perform the photosynthesis, and the kingdom here comes as kingdom plantae. Okay, then we have this eukaryotic multicellular organism without cell wall, and that includes kingdom animalia. So these are the 5 different kingdom classification that we are going to discuss on. So before starting with anything, you need to keep in mind, you have to go through this chart first, and then you are going to discuss on the characteristics, because here we are going to discuss on different kinds of characteristics which have been given. Okay, so we have to be very much clear with this concept first कि 5 kingdom classification कौन से basis पे classified है. Like the organism that we are having, they are of 2 types. We have prokaryotes and eukaryotes. With prokaryotes जो है उसके अंदर unicellular organisms आते हैं, so it includes kingdom monera. Then eukaryotes में they are divided further into unicellular as well as multicellular. So unicellular में we have kingdom protista. Multicellular में we can have it with cell wall and without cell wall. So with cell wall में there will be 2 criterias. Some of the organism performing photosynthesis, some of the organism they don't perform photosynthesis. So who is not performing the photosynthesis, that is kingdom fungi, and who is performing the photosynthesis, that is kingdom plantae. And the eukaryotic multicellular without cell wall is kingdom animalia. Okay, after that we are going to discuss on kingdom plantae. Okay, what are we going to do? We are going to discuss on kingdom plantae. Now kingdom plantae has different classes you are already aware of. We have thallophyta, we have bryophyta, we have pteridophyta, we have gymnosperms, and we have angiosperms. So these are the 5 different classes that you need to write whenever you are discussing on kingdom plantae. Now here there are different possibilities, like the questions coming up in exam is either they can ask you a brief about, like write a short note on kingdom plantae. So when such type of question comes, you will have to include all the different types, like you will have to write about thallophyta, bryophyta, pteridophyta, angiosperms and gymnosperms. आपको सबके बारे में थोड़ा थोड़ा लिखना पड़ेगा. But if specifically if they are asking about to write a note on pteridophyta, so आपको pteridophyta पे at least you have to, like this can be asked for 2 to 3 marks, not more than that. Bryophyta, or they can even tell you to write 2 points of thallophyta and 2 points on bryophyta. So the possibility can be anything. You have to be thorough with everything. Okay, then this is a chart which has been given for classification of plants. So we divide the plants as they do not have differentiated plants. That comes under like all the thallophytas, they don't have differentiated plant parts like stem, roots and all. Okay, and then plants who are having differentiated plant parts, like they will be without specialized vascular tissue, and some of the plants they will be with vascular tissue. So without vascular tissue includes bryophyta. With vascular tissue we have plants that are producing seeds, they are called as phanerogams. Who are not producing seeds, they are called as pteridophyta. Now this phanerogams, they are divided further as angiosperm and gymnosperm. The gymnosperms, they bear and egg seeds, and angiosperms they bear seeds inside fruits. So angiosperms ko we can further divide them as having seeds with 2 cotyledon and have seeds with 1 cotyledon. So 1 cotyledon is called as monocots and 2 cotyledons are called as dicots. Okay, so this is the classification of plants, and then we will be discussing on kingdom Animalia, where we have phylum Porifera to discuss, Cnidaria to discuss, Platyhelminthes, Nematoda, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Protochordata and Vertebrata. So these are the 10 different phylums that we are going to discuss on. Okay, after that if you see this Vertebrata, they are further divided as Cyclostomata, Pisces, Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves, Mammalia, and this is how the classification of the animal is done. So I'll suggest you, whenever you are starting your like classification of plants agar पढ़ रहे हो, so you need to go on with that chart which has been given first. And when you are discussing on classification of animals, you have to go with this chart first and then start studying the characteristics. Okay. So after that we will be discussing on nomenclature as well, and then we will be having a summary discussion where we are going to discuss on what exactly we have discussed in this lesson, and then we have certain questions to discuss, like what are the advantages of classifying the organisms, how would you choose between two characteristics which have been used for developing a hierarchy in classification, then you have to explain the basis for grouping the organisms into 5 kingdoms. Then what are the major divisions that are included in plant A and what are the basis of this division, and how are the criteria for deciding the division in plant is different from the criteria for deciding the subgroup among animals. Then we need to explain how animals in vertebrata we can classify them into further subgroups. Okay, so these are 6 questions that we are going to discuss on in this lesson, diversity and living organism, once we complete studying all these things. Okay, so I hope that whatever basic details that we have studied today in this lesson, diversity in living organism, has been clear to you. In the next part we are going to actually start with the exact lesson, that is diversity and living organism. Okay, so thank you everyone.